Good morning and hello. We are on day 7, 365 days to racial change. My name is Tomlin's Back, and welcome again. Thanks for hanging out and sticking with it, riding along with me. This journey is just as fresh to me as it is to you. This information that came my way, and just to get us on the same page, literally, just to let you know we are informed by a man named Dr. Claude Anderson, coming heavily from a lot of his writings. This is a Black History Reader, 101 questions you never thought to ask. We're also looking at uh, Black Power and White Wealth, not necessarily in that order. White Wealth Rest on, Black Labor, and his outline for a national strategy for Black people to come together and get it together. And also, Uncle Tom's Cabin, we got a few episodes around this piece of work by Harriet Beecher Stowe coming up very shortly. Oh, did I forget to turn my ringer off? I hate that. Wait a minute. Just give me 1 second. I'm sorry about this. Hello. Hey, JD, what's up, man? Yes, I helped pass the law for to help the ostriches. Yeah, it's a good law, what's ostrich insurance. Everybody pays into it, and the ostriches are helped. It doesn't matter that you don't have an ostrich or that you're even allergic. It's a big national plan you put into it, and that's it. Well, Obama got away with it with health care. I mean, what do you want from me? I mean, come on. Just pay into it. It'll be all right. They got subsidies and everything. It's going to be okay. Who cares if you don't have an ostrich? You want to pay into this big fund. It's just like Obama did with healthcare. It's cool. All right, we still friends? Call me. Yeah, we're going to talk about Obama and healthcare, Obamacare. He got there's a lot of Obama products that came out. There was Obama phone. I had one that promptly broke when I put some serious electronic stress upon it. Yeah, I'm being very facetious about the healthcare, but I got big issues about companies that want to form and then make Americans pay for it. We'll discuss some of that in the upcoming weeks. I hope I can articulate that properly. So anyway, there's some of the books we talked about. Come to hashtag us to Google it or put it in your web browser, and you can interact more with a community that probably can articulate these issues much better than I can. I just seem motivated upon receiving this information to, bring, raise awareness, especially in my little community. We've never talked about anything that I'm finding in this material here. So part of it's just me doing my little piece, my little part in my very small niche of the world. I don't have thousands of fans, and I'm not actually a big web person and all that stuff. I just the subjects has struck me because I have felt some of these pressures. I felt barred from aspects of American life, and while my color was kind of always a given, I didn't understand how insidious my problems were. Um, how systemic, meaning how this, how it's structured, the difficulties I find for myself personally in American society, especially economically. So today we're going to actually run bring that Second Amendment argument a little further, more into today's world, today's climate about concerning, like, what if America failed? What if the world economy collapsed? What if the world descended into chaos? We're so close, you know, we're on the brink, you know. A lot of Americans, myself especially included, live paycheck to paycheck, and I'm just one paycheck away from experience some serious failure in my life. Fortunately, I've been through homelessness, hunger, addiction, and stuff, so I'm not too afraid of getting out there. We're experiencing winter here, but I've even been out in the elements. So a collapse, as far as a financial collapse, as far as my necessities and needs met, doesn't worry me much. I'm a single man, so I can pick up and go out my front door naked, without a care in the world, and I wouldn't impact too many people. I'd probably disappoint a lot of people, um, but the results would fall on my shoulders, that impact primarily. So carrying that discussion further, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, and I finished off, I believe, talking about, you know, knowing how do blacks in general know how to care for themselves if the power never came back on. Do blacks know how to hunt? Do blacks know how to arm themselves? I'm sure there's a lot of guns and weapons in the black community, but even that resource is limited. Eventually, um, you know, we could talk, maybe even if you're religious, about the second coming of Christ, tribulation. Very worrisome times for the world. If you go along that route, can you survive? Now, the Second Amendment was created to support white militia, to suppress any black uprisings in America, to resist that. But what it did, it left black Americans essentially unarmed, vulnerable, at the mercy of the system. And I believe that spirit has continued on to this day and age into the 21st century. Um, I know a lot of, I spent a lot of time with white people, and most of them know how to hunt, start a fire, catch game, feed themselves. They regularly go up into the woods. They challenge themselves in challenging environments. Um, it's their it's a recreation in a way, but it's also preparation for survival. So we'll get back to that, but I will just give you an update. At this moment, America's government is in shutdown, and it's not too bad when the government does that for a week or two. But this shutdown is extending. We've got a president that nobody can seem to figure out. Um, I don't see a whole lot of people in my circles claiming support for him. I have no idea how he got in office, but he did, and America is reeling um, from the unpredictability of this man. Anyway, because of a lot of complicated issues, which he likes to be the center of, our government is still in shutdown, and what that has a ripple effect. I have student loans I'm trying to repair and resolve, and I'm finding I can't get into the website to um, continue my payments and continue resolving this issue. my loans are tied up with a private company, I can call them, but I don't like to do that. You know, this it took me 4 or 5 years to get comfortable going online for everything as everything migrates in that direction, and it's problematic when I'm trying to put energy into um, that kind of endeavor, and I run into organizations and people who don't transact online. So that's a problem. So that's one ripple effect. The more pressing though issue is, number one, government workers not getting paid. Our parks are backed up. They're not being monitored. Trash, things like that. Also, some of the necessities, food stamps, housing, some of our necessary uh, programs for the poor, probably mostly black, are now held up. There's nobody at these offices to make things happen. So any checks, I got me a little piece of part-time job that's not dependent on the government. It's a logistics kind of service industry, and the people utilizing that aren't primarily government workers. They're private citizens and uh, private businesses, utilizing the service. So it's where I work's not going to uh, face much backlash from the government being shut down. The government would have to be shut down for a very long time to impact the company where I work at. So I'm in pretty good shape. Um, so with that apparatus not functioning, a lot of people are going without basic services and needs. Um, and our present president has the argument tied up with immigration, which we're going to talk about in the next couple of days, how immigration impacts Americans. But let's talk about that's one issue, the one ripple in the normal life in America. Here's our own government not functioning. When it doesn't function, services don't happen, and a lot of people's lives are in jeopardy. Bill collectors still call. Electric still needs to be paid. Children need to be fed. So it's a big mess. On top of that, you think, but even the government workers, even if things got corrected today, they're going to still need to wait maybe 2 weeks more for their checks to start rolling in again, because a lot of them are not being paid for this. This is unpaid. This is an unpaid event happening in their lives. A very, very serious disruption. Um, as far as some world news, Russia is still building missiles, and they've recently boasted about a missile that's unstoppable, and that if they fired it off over the northern ice cap, there'd be no way to stop it. And so, you still have agencies and people, even America, building weapons, better weapons of mass destruction and things. And I don't know, it's amazing. We're all on this one little planet. We've not mastered how to move in space effectively. We haven't reached that Star Trek level of technology. That's a long ways off, but if people could just understand that this Earth is such a tiny speck of dirt in the universe, and we really need to get along and level the playing field a whole lot, um, to make life equitable for all people. I'm actually hoping for some global situation that's going to slow us down and make equitable existence normal on this planet. You know, it's gonna be a heavy price if it does come to that. You know, natural disaster, war, whatever, something to get us treating each other fairly on all sides, so that there is no side, so that we get back to treating everyone well. So that's Russia. China, I mentioned earlier, they landed on the moon, dark side of the moon, a pretty impressive feat. They are slowly encroaching. They've got this system. They just slowly are moving forward and making, uh, elbowing their way into to being serious players on the world stage. They have for many years. I'm not saying they're like a small country or anything that, but because of their nationality, their national creed or whatever, their unity, they're they're just elbowing the way. I was at a concert one time and I was right at the front at the barricade, blew my eardrums out and everything. But I was right next to this other white dude, and we were rocking out to some rock music. But then there's this little other white dude trying to elbow and shoulder his way in between. He must be at the barricade as well. And I mean, so there was no verbal agreement. So me and the other white dude were trying to enjoy the concert, rock out, and keep our shoulders and elbows tight and stuff. But the little dude right in back, boy, he was just inexorable. He just came and kept uh, inching his way, and it must have been about an hour tussle, this slow engagement, um, altercation, whatever you call it. It's almost comical. But he finally, we, gave up our fight, our resistance to him, and he fully got himself. And he was a recognizable force at the barricade at the front of this rock concert. Uh, that's what China has done. There's probably other countries doing that as well. You see it happening in America where um, nationalities kind of land in a space and uh, just take over to create their community. Detroit and the Arab community in Detroit is a great example. We'll talk specifically about that in upcoming, but also China is having more issues with Taiwan. That's a disputed thing that's been going on for decades. I don't know the exact history, but China believes they own Taiwan, and Taiwan says, no, we're an independent country, and that constantly causes friction. Recently, China's president has threatened military action there, and that happens every couple of years. Anyway, so we got this constant global unrest still, and what I fear is that with blacks being essentially at the bottom, minus a very small minority, what Dr. Anderson calls black overclass, as they are, they are comfortable in their spaces, mostly the entertainers. They're business people. That's a quieter sector for a few reasons. You don't want to be too visibly black owned or even thought of as a black-owned business supporting blackness, because the um, other communities can quarantine you Um, if if you're not situated to fight on that, they can stop buying your product or service. They can make getting the supplies or resources for your product or service more expensive. Do all kinds of uh, fanciful trickery to impact your business. Not so much with entertainment and sports and things like that. Although sports is an entertainment, if you really think about it, if you break it down. Colin Kaepernick, he was, he appeared. Now I don't know exactly why he knelt down during the national anthem. I know why I would, because of what I understand about the national anthem in this country, and it's how far in arrears it is towards doing right by blacks. But I don't know exactly. But anyway, it did grieve. The conversation did break down along racial lines as far as him doing that. Cost him, apparently cost him his NFL career. He's a pretty good quarterback too. But anyway, you can't be in those circles and be too visibly a supporter of blackness in America, or you're going to get some backlash. That's the problem. One of the fundamental problems, one of the things that's got my blood boiling and got me desirous to challenge myself to put out 365 days of videos, to give a little voice to my community, and to heal myself, understand what I'm looking at, what I'm encountering now out in the world when I leave the doors of my apartment. Um, so that having been said, my worry is that if it came down to it, if you're familiar with this story, like the movie The Book of Eli, Denzel Washington, where the world has just collapsed. People are eating each other. Water is scarce. Everything is dry. Nothing grows. You need to learn how to fight. Bullets are scarce. Um, you know, just gloom and doom earth. Can blacks survive? You know, take? Do I know how to start a fire? Can I do? Does it work to rub sticks and stuff together, as I see in the movies? Can I make an adequate shelter? Can I protect myself if two or three men want what I have? These are things to think about. I was fortunate to stumble onto a video where there was some type of church gathering, and the speaker was polling the audience. Who had shot a gun that week? Who knew how to um, dress game if they caught it in the wild? Who hunts? Self-defense. Things of that nature. Those are things to think about. The world does a good job as much as it can to keep itself afloat. But even the world, like me living paycheck to paycheck, the world is just one screwy event from financial collapse into anarchy. We saw this back in 2008. We let people be creative with our finances and our money, and they crashed the world. That's that's amazing. How interconnected we are now financially. It's been that way actually a long time. Um, with countries, as far think about the creation of America, how the colonies separated from England, but isn't England one of our closest allies now, right? Any country we've had issue with, we're allies now. And those allies are now permitted to come over and push blacks out of resources now. Enemies are now our friends, but the blacks that built the nation aren't reciprocated at all for all of that energy that they put out. Very sad, America. There's going to be a reckoning, I believe, for that one of these days. I'm going to stand in the truth of Dr. King and Gandhi's process of nonviolence, because violence won't do it. And I don't have an atom bomb to threaten anyone with to take me seriously. That's what it would take for America to listen. North Korea played around and scared us and said stuff and whatnot because they had the capability. They needed to be taken seriously, to the point where our president even met the president of North Korea because he had the bomb. He was moving towards those capabilities. I'd love to hear specifics of what that conversation was like when they met. Anyway, so this video is about blacks being able to survive if it really came down to it. If there was a run on the banks, meaning people went to the banks and extracted their cash, if there was a run at the supermarket, Walmart's food section was cleared out, and your local food store is cleaned out, no milk, no electricity, just squirrels and whatever you can take down in the wild. Do you know how to properly prepare those kind of animals for consumption and make it work? Do you know how to fish? At least can you fish? Do you have fishing equipment? Right? I don't. I'm just as comfortable and complacent in my little American life as a whole lot of people. Right? But see, these are things to think about, and my life is going through its own restructuring process. I need to be even just more self-sufficient before I can even branch out and learn and get into some of those skills. But these are important things to think about. To be ready. It's better to be ready and not ever encounter it than to encounter it and not be ready. Thanks for stopping in. Have a good day.